everyone. Thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is Dr. Omar Manejwala, the Chief Medical Officer at DarioHealth. How are you today?
Hey, Jared. How are you?
I'm excited to have you on. I'm doing well, well caffeinated. I'm ready. Let's
I'm
do it.
excited to be on. I've been catching the podcast. I don't know if the guests often do, but I've been listening to some of the episodes and really enjoying it. I like the angle that you're taking. It's awesome. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I get to speak with people like yourself, which is always exciting. And you're a unique guest too, in that I actually got to see you speak recently at the DTX East Conference in Boston,
That was a great
and then we're
conference.
having you on. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's awesome to do that, and that was a great conference. And I think now with conferences coming back, there's more opportunities for that. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I know we'll be running into each other at some of these other events coming up, which will be fun. But let's dive right into it. So
yeah.
it's your first time on the podcast. So if you could give the audience a little bit about your background, that would be much appreciated.
So I'm a psychiatrist by background. I practiced for many years in a variety of settings, got interested in behavior change, chronic conditions, wrote a book on cravings, joined a startup which was deploying behavioral health solutions. We took that public and grew it to enterprise level. And about 2.5 years ago, I became really interested in how can we use the tools in our pocket like phones and things like that in order to help people with chronic conditions, to help people do things that are really, really hard, like, form habits and do the stuff that's necessary to get healthy. And so I joined up with DarioHealth, which at that time was a direct to consumer diabetes solution primarily. And I was very attracted to the idea of companies that were in the retail or direct to consumer space, because healthcare is really hard to navigate. Everybody knows that. It's very clunky. It's not built for the users of the services. And so when something is, that was very attractive to me. So that's how I ended up here.
Thank you for that breakdown. For those, I don't think there's many at this point, but for those that don't know about DarioHealth, can you also give us a quick overview of the company?
Sure. Yeah. DarioHealth is changing the healthcare experience by putting people at the center of simple, continuous, connected care for health. And so Dario began in the direct-to-consumer space. We're still in the direct-to-consumer space, initially deploying diabetes solutions with a connected glucometer and coaching application and technology, and added a variety of conditions along the way: high blood pressure, prediabetes, behavioral health, musculoskeletal conditions like chronic pain, and ultimately began deploying these solutions to what we call B2B2C customers, so like employers and health plans. And so along the way have really deployed an integrated multi-condition solution for chronic conditions. And that's really important because people have one condition. They tend to have more than one. Behavioral health overlaps a lot. Half the people with diabetes have high blood pressure. So having to go use multiple solutions for these conditions doesn't make sense. It's awkward. It's cumbersome. So Dario's approach was, let's take what we can learn about what people love about using their phone and using apps and technology, and let's see if we can do that to support helping folks really change the behaviors, form the habits they need to get healthy, which is of great value, as you know, and as your listeners know, to employers and to health plans and to people, and helping sort of reduce the overall cost of care, improve the clinical outcomes. Along the way, we've published a ton of studies and really shown some robust clinical and financial outcomes with our approaches. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the overview. And you had a big partnership that you helped put together with, as you and I were chatting before, I'm probably going to say it the European way, with Sanofi or Sanofi,
Right.
however you want to say it.
Sanofi or Sanofi. Yeah.
Yep. And that was part of when you were at the DTX East Conference in Boston. You were speaking with, I'm probably going to mess up this name too, Alexander. Is it Condolian?
Condolian. Yeah.
Condolian.
Yeah.
It's always what you think it is. Condolian over at Sanofi, and you two had a great conversation, really diving into I don't want to say for the first time, but for probably a good chunk of the audience, it was the first time where both of you were digging into what this partnership means. Can you talk a little bit about that, maybe for those that didn't attend the event, what that partnership looks like and why you were so excited to put it together?
Sure. And that conversation was a lot of fun because we took a different than usual approach, which is a very frank, open dialogue for the benefit of the audience about, you know, um, what's been amazing about the partnership, what are the challenges, what can others learn about these kinds of partnerships. But to answer your question, pharma has tried to play with digital health in various ways, and there have been a lot of failures. The graveyards are just littered with examples of failed partnerships between digital and pharma. Most of the partnerships were along the lines of, okay, well, apps can be useful. Let's couple it with a pill and push it through. Or let's get a digital therapeutic that can be prescribed and treated like a pill in that way. And so that's been the primary approach. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that's the least interesting and narrowest case of what pharma and digital therapeutics can do together. So we haven't opened the aperture wide enough to see what's really possible. Think about what's great about pharma: incredible research capability, commercialization capabilities. Really innovative approaches and a structure designed to, figure things out and deploy at scale the latest innovations. Then you think about digital health, which tends to be very small, agile, can move very, very quickly. And so you put these things together, there are some broader opportunities behind let's treat apps like a pill. And so that's the approach that Sanofi and Dario came together on. Sanofi evaluated a massive number of, they basically surveyed the entire digital therapeutics ecosystem with the question of who can help us accelerate the most in terms of entering this area and create novel partnership opportunities. And their choice was Dario. Similarly, we looked at a number of pharmaceutical companies, and we were interested in who can look beyond this simple, commercialize an app as similar to a pill or run it through a pharmacy, or pair an app with a medication, which again, those are good things to do, but it could be so much more than that. And we saw that Sanofi clearly was looking bigger, looking at life between the moments of provider visits, looking at day-to-day life of folks and how can that be influenced and supported. And Sanofi's mission is chasing the miracles of science that make, health possible, or something like that. And we think that digital therapeutics is one such miracle. So there was so much alignment, philosophically, strategically. There's so much around this idea of looking bigger. So we came together and we figured it out. What we ended up deploying was a partnership that had 3 or 4 components, depending on how you look at it. The first was commercialization, which is using Sanofi's team of relationships with health plans, et cetera, to deploy Dario across the ecosystem. And that's been interesting because that went to scale immediately. Like a switch was flipped and we were at scale. There was no scaling up. And we're out there right now being presented to a large number of plans and others in the space. The second area was evidence generation. This is a problem with digital therapeutics. You got a lot of, I'm going to say, kind of crappy evidence, small studies, really, really narrow, not very rigorous. And so, but on the other hand, real world evidence capabilities for pharma are massive. They're unbelievable. And we're actually already running multiple trials with Sanofi right now, with results expected very, very soon, and prospective and retrospective. And it's pretty awesome. So that's evidence generation. The third area of collaboration is around co-development. So can we put our teams together and actually build products, digital products together, which we're doing right now. And we've had some early wins there. And the fourth area is the potential for Sanofi to invest in Dario. And that may be coming down the pipe too. So we've got a variety of ways that we came together, but it had to be much more than just, oh, apps are like pills. And that's, we think that we're excited to lead in that area, but we also think that that's going to serve as a model for other partnerships. So when we see other partnerships, we'll be happy about that, because I think, we can see ourselves as market leaders in that space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting relationship. The team over there too that you're working with, Alex,
Oh yeah,
and his team is super innovative. Some of the nicest people, also. Like
yes,
it,
absolutely,
you know, crazy thought. It's great to work with nice people.
yeah.
Um, um, but yeah, I was really excited when I heard about that partnership. Just like a lot of others were. And then hearing the two of you speak at that conference was by the way, you both did such a great job. It was a very casual conversation.
That was nice,
um
very natural, felt very natural. Yeah.
yeah, it was a true fireside chat. uh
Only no fire, right? That's the
Only
only
no
thing that's
fire. Yeah, we need to someone needs to put their phone with the YouTube
yeah, the little app
yeah,
there.
fireplace app.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it was great to learn more then, and thank you for providing some additional
oh sure.
details.
Yeah.
I think coming out of that conference, I was starting to get interested in digital therapeutics.
Hmm.
um, you know to be honest, it was a new space for me. And then seeing how many companies were there and all the innovation that's happening in the space and the great conversations that happened made me even more interested in it. What do you see the future of digital therapeutics looking like?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. Where is this thing going to go now? You have to be careful drawing conclusions outside of healthcare to healthcare. But when you look at retail disruption in general of any industry, and you look at the digital sort of evolution of industries, it ends up being that things get simpler, they get more convenient, they get more consumer focused, more consumerized, easier to use, more useful, more available, less expensive. And that's what has happened. Now, healthcare has had a challenge with that. But if anything is going to evolve it to that point, it's going to be efficiency and simplicity, something that's clearly been missing. And we saw a little bit of this with telehealth. I mean, telehealth is not digital health, but we saw during the pandemic people were using telehealth because it was convenient and simple to do so. It wasn't really appreciably different than telehealth has been over the last 30 years. We were just doing more of it. With digital health, we've got apps for everything now, and there's winners and losers, and the market picks those based on what's easy to use and what's well connected with network effects. With digital therapeutics, I think what we're going to see is folks use their phones a lot, and we're seeing more and more penetration of smartphone usage. We're seeing solutions to broadband deserts. We're seeing older adults using this stuff a lot more frequently, and they're the folks often who have chronic health conditions. So you're seeing a lot of opportunities for people to use their phone to help with the things that are hard to do, like change your behaviors, lose weight, move more, take your medicines, measure your blood pressure, blood sugar, all the stuff that small actions that add up to big improvements in health and big reductions in cost. So I think the future, and by the way, you see a couple of different paths diverging. You've got one path towards like, let's get it FDA approved, let's get it prescribed. And I think that's great. I'm not opposed to it, but I think at the end of the day, most of these function more like Tylenol and less like, some severe antibiotic that needs a prescription. And so really it's about making access easier, not putting barriers in. So that's the approach that Dario took. So I really think the future involves integration, consolidation. It involves simplicity, a consumerized approach, multiple conditions in one place, and really approaches that a lot of evidence is going to be required because people don't trust it necessarily. Historically, there's been some problems with, okay, does my HbA1c, that's a measure in diabetes, really come down? Does my blood pressure come down? Does my mood, will my chronic pain actually get better? All these things need to be very rigorously studied in trials with real world evidence. And so we're going to see much more evidence. We're going to see the bar raising for that. Again, with a lot of point solutions, there's a lot of companies out there that are deploying, just for sleep or just for COPD or just for this, that, or the other thing. And you're going to see a lot of that coming together in an integrated way, because if you're a health plan, if you're an employer, you don't want to be partnering with 40 different, there's a lot of loss in that. There's a lot of waste in that. And so you're going to see a lot more integration over time. You're going to see marriages between telehealth and digital health coming to be as well. You're going to see more marriages with pharma. You're probably going to see some structural changes in reimbursement as well. And you're going to see the acceptance of digital measures in quality outcomes and in other areas too. So there's been a lot of changes. We're probably going to see these over the next few years. We need to see them because God knows what we're doing now is in healthcare in general is not working. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Also hearing the director of clinical innovation at Point 32.
Oh
Was
yeah.
it Jason Parent? I believe his name is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the questions at the conference were actually around how do these how do the digital therapeutic companies work with the payers, what research do they need to show, but yeah, it was all the talks were super interesting. Again, yours is included. As we wrap up here,
Yeah.
what's next for Dario Health that you want to let the world know?
Yeah, so Dario's growing like crazy. We're certainly expanding into health plans, into employers, growing in terms of the conditions we cover, growing in terms of our integration capabilities. What's really next is helping as many people as possible to manage their chronic conditions in a simple, unified, consumerized experience that's evidence based and that really helps people with the things that matter to them. At Dario, we say what matters to people is generally far more important than what's the matter with people. And so, really focusing on what's important to the folks who use our solutions. That's been where we came from, where we're going next, and I think you're going to see a massive amount of growth from Dario.
I love it. I'm excited to continue to follow the path. Hopefully, have you and other members of the Dario Health team on again. We'll have to do something with
Absolutely.
maybe Sanofi. Um, and I'm going to do something I never do real quick just because I realized I was wearing it. I don't know if you've heard of this company, but shout out to Pathology
Oh
Watch.
wow. Okay.
I just realized this was the sweatshirt I was wearing today.
Huh.
But yeah, to Dan over there. But he'll be happy I'm wearing what he sent me to wear. So that's
All
great.
right, so we're gonna have to send you like a Dario sweatshirt or something.
Hey,
So.
I'll wear it on a lot of episodes if I have a Dario sweatshirt. It's
All
how I can
right.
see like that you're. I can picture your logo in my head. That was the
Yeah.
first thing I notice about every company as I really look at the logo. Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much again for coming on the podcast. I'm glad we are able to do this, and look forward to talking again soon.
Thanks, Jared.